Today I will be talking about why we need sex education in school. There is a number of times throughout someone's schooling that they might ask, why do I need to know this? Or how is this going to benefit me in the future? While it might be hard to explain to an 8th grader all these math equations, there is one topic taught in schools that will be useful later in life that is not emphasized enough, and that is sexual education. Today I'm going to emphasize the importance of having a sex education class in school. It is important to have a class with the standard curriculum and not to just teach about staying abstinent, but as well as teaching the other important things of sex. My name is Juana, and I already went through school and I had this sex education class, and I can say for myself that it did really help with the learning importance of staying abstinent and among other things. Today I will talk about why we need sex education in schools, as well as why it is important, and finally how it is helpful. Why we need sex education: children need to learn to stay abstinent, learn about what things come after sex, such as STDs and pregnancy. The first thing I will talk about today is why we need sex education in schools. It is said that only 13 states out of the 50 require sex education in teenage schools. Research also shows that when sex education is inclusive, students feel more informed, make safer choices, and have healthier outcomes. And I got this from the Department of Nursing of University of Southern California. Obviously, in some schools they teach about sex education, but all they teach is to stay abstinent. Abstinence only education sometimes encourages students to abstain from sex without ever telling them what sex is. In contrast, when comprehensive sex education is taught in schools, it may encourage teens to make more informed decisions before participating in alternative sexual behaviors. Without enough information, those behaviors that teens may falsify assume are safe. And I got this from Elizabeth Belsky, Top 10 Reasons to Support Sex Education in Schools. As well as young people can make good decisions about their sexual health if education policies, programs, and services are available to them to help them. A shared partnership approach between schools, parents, and the local community will ensure sound evidence-based and responsibility sexuality education is readily available for all young people. And I got that from Why We Need Sexual Education, Victoria State Government. Choose one approach: effects of sexual activity, unexpected pregnancies or STDs, emotional instability if you are not ready for that step, and simple staying abstinent. Secondly, I'm going to talk about why it is important to get sex education at a teenage year. Sexuality education has positive effects, including increasing young people's knowledge and improving their attitudes related to sexual and reproductive health and behaviors. Sexuality education in or out of schools does not increase sexual activity, sexual risk-taking behavior, or STI, HIV infection rates. And I got that from Why Comprehensive Sexuality Education is Important from UNESCO. It is also important to receive sex education at a teenage year because that's obviously the age that kids start getting hormones, and mostly boys want to explore that. It is better safe than sorry before being informed of the consequences of sex and being informed of what diseases can be caught from being sexually active. It's important to be taught what goes on with one's body when sexual activity has begun. Also, it's important to be taught to be respectful to each other, even other when trying to be sexual. Schools should teach sexual activity and effects in schools at a teenage year. Finally, I will talk about importance of sexual education, getting informed of sexual acts as well as preventions. Finally, I will talk about how being educated about sex is useful in one's life, such as education helps young people to reduce the risk of potentially negative outcomes, such as unwanted pregnancies and sexually transmitted infections, STIs. Such education can also help you to enhance the quality of the relationships and to develop decision-making skills that will provide invaluable over life. And I got that from Peter DeWitt, Should Sex Education Be Taught in Schools, Education Week. It can be helpful in one's life because it can prevent someone from getting pregnant, from getting a disease such as HIV or AIDS. It's helpful to parents as well because it takes such a pressure off them to teach everything to the child. Now the children will be informed and it will make it easier to have the talk with them when they are ready. Everyone should have some type of education towards sex so they know what is going on. And in conclusion, if a school offers sex education, it does not mean that they are approving teen sex. They are just trying to better educate and take a proactive approach to this instead of topic for our high school students. A proper sex education class can inform students about the risk and in return would lower the number of teens that have STDs and the pregnancy rate. If teens are being taught about safe sex and different diseases they can end up with, they are not going to feel immune, just knowledgeable. These young adults need to be educated, not so they can go out and have sex, but so they can feel safe and protect their future. Thank you.